We're going to take a look at a mobility sequence that is good for improving ankle dorsiflexion. So this can be used as a warm-up for your lower body days, for performing back squats, front squats, overhead squats, even the unilateral work like lunges, split squats, and step-ups. For this mobility sequence, you're going to need an elevation, and you're also going to need a dowel or a stick. With this elevation, it's allowing us to drive the knee out over the toe while keeping the heel flat on the surface. So we don't want the heel lifting up here. By using an elevation, it just gives us a little bit of a more comfortable position than trying to perform this on the floor. So find an elevation that works for you. Now, you'll notice here that I've stacked the weight plates just off center in this position. So what this allows me to do is I can come down, bringing my butt towards my heel, closing the angle between the calf and the hamstring, and then I can reach forward with my hands and I can pull myself into this position further forward. So I can actually use my arms and pull myself deeper into that ankle dorsiflexion and just sort of hang out here. So this is one part of the stretch. We can just hold roughly 20-30 seconds of hanging out in this position. Now, if you need to, once you've done that, you can just shake it off, have a little bit of a rest. We're going to come back into the same position again. And this time we're just going to do in and out movements. So we go forward, pushing the knee over the toe, keeping the heel down, and then we just push back a little bit. So just like little rocks. We're going to go for 10. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then from here, we're going to bring the knee out. So we pull out here and we feel more weight to the outside of the foot, so under the pinky toe. And then we bring the knee in and we push in and we feel more weight under the big toe. So we're just going to go out and in for 10. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Again, if you need to, just come out, give it a little bit of a shake. We'll go back in one more time for this little bit of mobilization. And now we're just going to do circles. So we go forward with the knee, then we'll come in and around and out. So we go 5 times in one direction. Nice big circles. That makes 3, 4, 5. And then we switch directions and we go back the other way. So 1, feeling the weight move under the big toe, under the little toe is 2, 3, 4, 5, and then shake it off. Then we go into the opposite leg and we repeat. So we first come into the stretch, hang out and hold. We then do the forward and back motion. We then do the side to side motion, and then you'd finish with the circular motion on that side. Okay, so next up, we're going to use the stick. So we're going to place the stick behind the calf here. Now, typically when we're doing bent knee stretches for the calf, we're working the lower part or targeting the lower part of the calf, not the upper part. So we can just place the stick around about midway down the calf here. And then we're going to close that angle and we're going to push down. So the stick is between the hamstring and the calf muscle. Now, this allows me to start pushing into the calf. So I can use the hands and I can actively push into that position. This is going to help to release the tension in the calf. So I can rock to side and it can be pretty painful, but it can help with the myofascia and it can help target different fibers of the calf muscle here. I can do my rocks forward and back as well. This will crush the stick between the calf and the hamstring. And I can even start to do little rotations backwards and forwards to release the tension here. I can go a little bit lower. So if I come out and I place it down a little bit further, and I can do the same. So this will start to get into the Achilles tendon, which can be quite tight and painful for some people. So just take it a little bit easy. We can pulse backwards and forwards again. I can push in to the calf. I can do my rocks and I can start to release tension. So you can virtually place the stick anywhere along the calf, but like I said, anywhere from about halfway down all the way down. You can come a little bit higher and get into the gastroc, and you can still feel this up here. But in the bent knee position, we're really just trying to target that lower part. So you can spend 30, 40, 60 seconds just playing around and just trying to find tension in the calf, and then obviously releasing that tension. Then you switch over and obviously repeat the process on the other side here. Okay, so another one we can do in this position is a PNF stretch. So again, we come back down into this lunge position, knee over the toe, heel on the elevated surface, closing the angle between the calf and hamstring, but as close to the heel as you can get it. Now, we're going to do a number of contractions here. The first one we're going to think about is like, imagine my foot is on the accelerator and I'm trying to plantar flex the ankle. So I'm pushing down in this position, okay? So I'll come back down in here, and then I'm going to be pushing down as hard as I can, and you should feel the calf muscle contracting here. So we'd apply the accelerator for 10 seconds here, keeping the knee over the toe. And then once we get to the end of the 10 seconds, we relax, and you can either sit here passively and just try to sink deeper, or we can do the opposite of this. So now we imagine we're pulling the toe up towards the knee. So we're activating the tibialis anterior, and we're actively trying to pull the ankle into dorsiflexion. So in this position here, if I finish doing the acceleration and pushing down, now I'm going to actively try to pull the toes up and contract tibialis anterior for 10 seconds. And then again, I'll relax. And now I'll go again, the accelerator. So pushing the ball of the foot down, contracting the calf, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Opposite way, activate tibialis anterior, pull the toes up towards the knee. Again, keeping the heel down, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And relax. So you can do that for 2 to 3 rounds. 10 seconds contract, 10 seconds contract the other way is 1 round. And then obviously you'd switch up and repeat that on the opposite side. So one more variation we can do here is we can actually use a weight. So I set myself up and I'm going to place the weight on top of the knee in this position. So then I'm lunging down forward and I'm using that weight to help move myself deeper into the stretch position. So again, we can do our PNF here. I can actively push down, contract the calf, and hold for the 10 seconds. Relax, and then activate tibialis anterior, pull the toe up, and try to sink deeper again, holding for 10 seconds, and using the weight to assist us here. Some people like the weight and can feel the benefit. Other people just like to place the hands on top of the knee and push forward in this position as they do the contract and relax. So just find what works best for you. So there's a fair bit in that mobility sequence, but I do recommend you do it all and you do it in that specific order. So just to recap, we started off with the isometric hold, moving down into that ankle dorsiflex / lunge position, grabbing hold of the weight and pulling ourselves deeper into the stretch and hanging out there for 20 to 30 seconds. From there, we went into our mobilization, doing our rocks. So we started with the forward and back rocks, doing 10 repetitions and focusing on keeping the heel of the foot in contact with the elevated surface. From there, we then did the lateral rock, so moving the knee in and feeling the weight under the big toe, and then pushing the knee out and feeling the weight under the pinky toe. So going in and out 10 times. Finally, in that mobilization sequence, we did the circles, so doing 5 repetitions in one direction, and then switching and doing 5 repetitions in the opposite direction. So that's a little bit of the mobilization. So I do that on one leg, stop, then do it on the other leg, before you move into the stick mobilization or into the PNF. So with the stick mobilization, we were placing the stick halfway down the calf. We were coming again into that lunge position. And then we were just experimenting. We were doing side to side motions, little rotations. We were doing the rocks backwards and forwards. And we were just trying to release tension through the calf there. We can move in and out of that position, and we can change the position of the stick, trying to figure out, what works best for us, where the tight areas are, and just trying to release some of the tension in the calf. We can go a little bit higher with the stick if we want to, but just experiment with that and try to get some of the tension out of the calf in that position. So again, I'd just do the stick on one side, and then I'd switch and I'd do the stick on the opposite side. From here, we can move into our PNF stretching. Whether you want to use a weight or just place the hands on top of the knee, totally up to you. Experiment and see which ones work best. We're coming down into, again, that split squat or that lunge position, and we're focusing on, first of all, plantar flexing the ankle. So we're pushing the ball of the foot down into the elevated surface like we're using the accelerator, and we're feeling the calf muscle contract. We're holding that for 10 seconds, and then we're relaxing, and then we're reversing that movement. We're dorsiflexing the ankle by contracting the tibialis anterior muscle, trying to lift the toes off the elevated surface. That's not going to happen, but the intention is there, and that's going to help pull you deeper into the ankle dorsiflexion. We're looking at doing 2 to 3 rounds of that. So a 10-second contract pushing the foot down, and then a 10-second contract trying to pull the foot up. 3 rounds on one side, and then 3 rounds on the other. So if you're struggling with your ankle dorsiflexion, I recommend using this as a warm-up on your lower body days, and you're going to notice an improvement in the range of motion in movements like your squats, your lunges, and your step-ups. Give it a try, leave a comment below, let me know how it goes.